I cannot remember the last time I grinned ear to ear like an idiot while playing a game. That level of fun is something most games chase after, yet it can be hard for a game to achieve that kind of joy. Especially when the stories and gameplay mechanics seem designed for something else entirely. While all games are enjoyable in one way or another, well, mostly, most games do fall into the category of being enjoyable for the level of satisfaction that playing achieves, while other games are fun just due to their very nature. Great games manage to mix both elements, but these are rare, and it's anyone's guess how to fit all those elements neatly together. The story's context has a great deal to do with the kind of enjoyment a game can offer. The first Watch Dogs had some extremely fun elements, yet it also had a fairly grim and depressing storyline, and a great deal of cumbersome and boring gameplay elements. The first game's story appeal was very limited. It appealed less to hackers and more to crime drama and revenge enthusiasts. Don't get me wrong, I love a good revenge film, and certain elements lend itself well to the hacker subculture. Still, it felt like it fit less into the hacker genre, and being closer to something like The Punisher than anything else. Revenge stories can be many things, but fun is usually not one of them. This was the main complaint leveled at the first game. It just didn't have a very fun tone. It had great ideas, and it was well designed from a mechanical standpoint, yet it lacked that flavor that would make Watch Dogs more than a great concept. It needed a spark to make this a true franchise. Watch Dogs 2 has all that and a bag of potato chips, bruh. Seriously, Ubisoft has found a magic formula and they need to stick with it. This no longer feels like a Far Cry Assassin's Creed mashup. Watch Dogs 2 has its own unique identity, and it does combine unique traits from other games that you really wouldn't expect. Its gameplay style is honestly closer to something like Skyrim meets Assassin's Creed meets Grand Theft Auto, of course. This is a game that's about exploration, but it's also equally about puzzle solving and player choice while creating general mayhem. While the first game used its hacker setting as mere window dressing, Watch Dogs 2 fully embraces the culture of hacktivists, which, as it turns out, is the perfect context for an open-world action game. The self-aware and satirical sense of humor that permeates the culture is on fine display here. While the writing may seem a bit hammy at times, it is perfect for the subject matter. Wisely, Watch Dogs 2 forgoes a more complex, plot-oriented story structure for great characters, witty dialogue, and an atmosphere of pure, unadulterated fun. The performances from the entire cast are outstanding. Marcus Holloway is a terrific protagonist that is so easy to like due to the incredible performance given by Rufus Prentice. Marcus and his crew are among some of the most realized characters in gaming. Reg is hilarious, Zatara is just as charming as a character can be, and Josh will be a hero to autistic gamers everywhere, thanks to Jonathan Dubsky's scene-stealing performance. Few games manage to be this funny and have characters this well developed. You really get to know them during the course of the campaign, which can last anywhere from 20 to over 100 hours. While the game has a tone that is very much comedic down to its core, this is a game that uses its satirical approach to the highest level possible while also having some very serious and almost gut-wrenching moments. These characters are larger than life, and the things they say and do will leave you laughing so hard you forget to play the game. Yet in spite of the game's blissful sense of fun, there is also a very compelling and almost realistic storyline underneath all the jokes and meta-humor. The story of kids, inexperienced basement dwellers as so many of us have been called, rising to meet the threat of oppression head-on using their unique skill sets is inspiring, courageous, but it is also very timely, and Ubisoft knows this. The setting is a no-brainer. Given the story's content, there is no better place to set the story than the San Francisco Bay Area. Home to Apple and Google, the birthplace of the tech industry, and not only a beautiful place to explore and lose yourself in, but one that naturally lends itself well to the game's atmosphere of fun and gameplay style. This is one of the most gorgeous cities in the world, and the level of authenticity in which it was recreated is simply mind-blowing. You could lose countless hours searching every nook and cranny for money, hidden music tracks, and items that allow you to access upgrades for Marcus. Or you could simply lose your life exploring one of the most beautiful and lifelike in-game cities I have experienced in any game. There are a few mini-games, one that is solely focused on taking selfies in the game's many famous locales, motorbike races, and another called Driver San Francisco that is the best Crazy Taxi knockoff I have played in years. The fact that this is a satire on the Uber service is just the icing on top of the cake. Taking a page directly out of Skyrim's playbook, side missions are scattered throughout the entire game world, and each offer their own distinct story and objectives. They're also very well done, as I spent 4 hours doing nothing but the side missions before I even finished the first major story mission. The game also has cooperative side missions that you can play alone or with a friend. These lack the more story-oriented structure of the side missions. Damn you, autism! But the ability to play these missions with a friend really alters the play dynamic to extremely satisfying results. Not only are there cooperative modes, there are competitive modes that are integrated seamlessly into the game world. Simply pull up your phone and you can engage in a bounty hunting mission or a hacking invasion styled attack. These modes offer a great deal of fun due to the vastly different experiences they offer. We are all used to all-out war, but the intimate game of cat and mouse that these modes evolve to is a very refreshing change of pace. Anything you can do solo, you can do competitively and cooperatively, and that means that the options are endless, and that the creativity involved is truly wondrous to behold. While anyone can run around shooting people in the face in most competitive shooters, it takes truly inventive, creative talent to drop a car on a bitch and watch him splatter on the ground. Driving is a huge improvement over the first. This is not realistic simulation-based driving, although that does depend on the difficulty setting you choose. And make no mistake, the easy setting on this game is no easy game. This is a challenging game, although there weren't moments of frustration during my playthrough. There were certainly moments where I had to keep replaying sections repeatedly to get the right ideas to pass through them. You don't have to play a certain style, but you certainly have to learn the areas and the objectives well enough to come up with a plan besides just blowing the hell out of everything. Now, you won't be blazing through intersections at 100 miles an hour. No, you'll be blazing through intersections at 200 miles an hour, feeling the wind in your face and your asshole puckering up arcade style, once you get used to how the different cars, bikes, and boats handle. You will be speeding through one of the most beautiful in-game worlds of this generation with ease. You will also have an RC car and quadcopter at your disposal, which gives you a nearly infinite number of solutions to any of the game's varied objectives, which is where the real fun of Watch Dogs 2 comes in. You are free to play any way you see fit. You have a stun gun, distraction aids, a brutal improvised melee weapon, some explosive treats, along with other toys that will aid you in hacking your way through the city. You can choose to be an unseen force moving through the shadows and manipulating the environment subtly, or an anarchist taking glee in causing untold havoc, or a warrior who will simply use any means necessary and any tool at his disposal to take down the threat. In keeping with the game's theme, you will have access to a 3D printer to create some very unique and personalizable firearms. You can also pick up any of the enemies' normal guns as well, and also print them out at the 3D station for a very high cost. And they all pack quite a punch, thanks to some terrific animations and equally astounding sound design. Guns have never sounded this realistic before, and that's thanks to the dynamic sound effects that react to your environment, which is an insane detail few games ever put thought into. While combat is avoidable, it is impeccable nonetheless thanks to the first game's sound combat design, which has been superbly dialed in when coupled with the game's organic playthrough, and creates some of the most natural action sequences in any open-world shooter to date. Using all your clever hacking abilities like, for example, shedding stalking non-lethal traps, allowing you to create some interesting combat opportunities which will allow for flexible and inventive playstyles. You were able to move fluidly through the world on foot, and some very flashy and ultimately satisfying parkour abilities will come in handy in San Francisco. Now, this is not Assassin's Creed, so don't expect to scale every building you see. You'll have to use all your abilities and gadgets to reach certain areas. This may seem clunky and unintuitive at times, yet it allows for a more satisfying exploration-based puzzle-solving experience. Marcus's animations are very lifelike, which also really help immerse you into this world. Nothing you do is implausible, so it doesn't break that suspension of disbelief. Even the game's outlandish mission design makes sense due to the character's personality and the context of the story. This is the first game I have played where nearly every in-game action was plausible in real life, and the story elements are also ripped directly out of our world. Immersion is a big factor for these kind of games. The ability to lose yourself, living and exploring in a virtual world, is a reason many of us play games to begin with. A lot of games fail to pay a detailed attention to that sense of immersion. Watch Dogs 2, however, is a terrific example of a game that is meant to be immersive at its very core. Not only is it meant to be immersive, it's meant to be fun at every single moment of which you're playing. Everything about this game captivated me. The relatable characters and the classic underdog story of heroism is the perfect combination for a sandbox you'll never want to leave. Thanks for watching my review, folks. If you liked it, head over to megamediaoverload.blogspot.com for more game reviews and other content as well, and also check me out on Twitter at GamerGuy1991 for more.